Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the only live Monday through Friday lacrosse talk show on the planet. I am your host, Michael Karvelis, and this is Daily Dive. It is Wednesday, November the 12th, 2025. This show begins now. We're streaming live via the airwaves of North American Talk Radio on YouTube. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel before you leave today's episode. On today's awesome show, I'm going to first get into my 11th ranked team. Again, one that might ruffle some feathers, if you will. That was not actually a pun intended. Then we'll get to our guest, Jacob McDonald, aka AnythingLax, to talk about building a brand, growing the game, and an NLL season preview of sorts. And finally, we'll wrap up our final roster moves with the Buffalo Bandits, Toronto Rock, Georgia Swarm, that was a lot suddenly, Colorado Mammoth, and the Philadelphia Wings. So, I want to first let you know, before we get started, that this show is presented by the Event Tickets tab at the Natter website. Head to natalkradio.com and click the Event Tickets tab today. There, you can search for your favorite National Lacrosse League team. All right, let's get into our first topic, which is going to be my 11th ranked NLL team. This one, again, is going to be a little bit controversial because of the fact that this team came oh so close last season. That being said, I still think they come oh so close again, and maybe not as close as you think, and now the fireworks begin. I think the Halifax Thunderbirds will finish with a record of 7-11. I actually think they'll be in a two-way tie with the 10th ranked team. And for the record, I have a couple of 8 and 10 teams making the playoffs. So the Thunderbirds, while they are 11th, they end up not being as far away as you think. But why are they not contenders, in my opinion? And again, not saying they won't be competitive, but let's run through it. I want Clark Peterson to be awesome this year. But if we're going to be honest, I don't know if he was last year. I think Clark Peterson expected to take a leap, and I'm not sure he did. The team is now relying on players like Will McLeod, who's a rookie. They're relying on Mike Robinson, who I really liked last year. I'm curious to see the step that he does take. The team is also relying on an offense that, again, I put a lot of stock in the Randy Stotts thing. Whether he misses 2 games or 6 games, somewhere between there, I think those couple of games will matter without him. And the glaring thing about this team is going to be the goalie musical chairs. I do not believe Warren Hill will play the whole season. Again, I told Pat Gregoire I think he needs to in order for the Halifax Thunderbirds to be very competitive and be in the top notch of contenders. I know Pat Gregoire came on the show last Friday and talked about how the Thunderbirds have been written off by a few people the last couple of preseasons, and my time doing that is now. I think the heartbreaking end last year was an issue, could be motivational when Mike Messenger made possibly the best defensive play in NLL history. But I also think the Thunderbirds have had chances and have just not gotten there. Whether it be 2 years ago losing their minds against Albany, whether it be last year, not being able to score 10 goals against Saskatchewan. I think that, again, the goalie musical chairs is an issue. I think that the offense has some nice pieces, but nobody that I personally will rely on, I'll be honest. I don't know who their closer is. If it's Randy Stott, sure. I think there's other teams out there that are better than them if that is your closer. I think the coaching of Michael Karvelis has always been right there, but sometimes not good enough. And I also believe this team who gets penalties a lot is going to continue to get them. I think that matters when push comes to shove. Again, even if they make the playoffs, do I see them going on a long run? I do not. I think of the top 4 teams that everyone's talking about, Saskatchewan, Buffalo, Vancouver, they throw in Halifax. I don't think Halifax deserves that 4th spot until otherwise proven. I know that sounds like lazy talk show stuff to do. I won't believe it until I see it, but it's true with this team. They finally got a couple home playoff games last year, and I still, by the way, remember last year the Halifax Saskatchewan travel situation as well. They couldn't stand the fact of going to Saskatchewan. And to that I say again, suck it up. And no one wants to say that out loud, but that was a very stupid issue last year's playoffs. Saskatchewan should have had the advantage, and they were not given that opportunity. Halifax is really good about complaining, whether it be on the field to refs or just apparently about travel plans. I do think that's a thing. And I think coaching enables that. Eventually, and again, not to harp on the emotional side, but again, in a league that is so balanced, I do not believe Halifax has the head on their shoulders to make it through. And again, you pile on that with the goalie situation. Again, let's say Randy Stotts plays a full year. I don't think Halifax fans will put their money on Warren Hill doing the same. And that's not even health related. That's production related. And that, again, if you are cream of the crop, if you're top of the line, you do not have a question at goalie, and Halifax does. And then, of course, you add on the other stuff that trickles down, like the coaching that enables the stupid stuff, like the injury to Randy Stotts that may or not be a thing. If Clark Pearson can step up again, there's a lot of questions on this team. So I do think it's just a 3-team race up top, Vancouver, Saskatchewan, and Buffalo. I don't think Halifax deserves to be in that conversation, despite being in the top 4 last year. Dawson Nielsen said, I'm not playing the emoji game, sir, but he says, does magic emoji to the something help in the, I have no idea. T-Birds need discipline, according to Michael Grace. Too many poor penalties. Again, I've said it. They have a strong roster on paper. Agreed. But they haven't gelled into a team yet. Too much locker room be agreed. He said they need to move away from Stotts as the main guy. Let CP24 step up and run the floor with Hogarth, Kirst, and Mike Robinson. No. He said the day after. No. To be clear, that was because Mackie fired me up. She was awesome, but I'm not gonna. I mean, anybody who believes in this team, if you put money on this team, I think that's a major investment, and you have to really believe in this team. Michael Grace then adds, Hill needs to be consistent, and they need to pull him when he needs a break. So again, and I'll say it right now, I do think Warren Hill is capable of being a guy all year, because apparently he does really well in other leagues. My thing is, when you stack those rosters up, it sometimes will mask a goalie's shortcomings. And again, I think if the Thunderbirds are going to be great, 2 things have to happen simultaneously. Number 1, their goaltending becomes a very good staple and a shocking development this year of Warren Hill being really awesome. And simultaneously, their penalties have got to cut down. And I don't just mean like, occasional holding calls. I mean the Jake Withers stuff. I mean the letting young fun like firewolves get under your skin, because people like to think that that's gone, and it's not. It's 2 years removed. So yes, I do think that those two things have to simultaneously happen. Oh, there's a great point by Dawson. There's a reason why Warren only played one game in the Mann Cup. Again, when you have a bunch of guys in front of you, it's very easy for your team, for your goalie to look better than what he is. And that's why so many people believe in Warren Hill. Again, I have got to see it happen. I'm predicting 7-11. Again, not a bad record by any means, but I still think they fall short. And again, if there is a top 4 team from last year that has to fall, it is Halifax, in my opinion. Unfortunately, I believe my guest coming up after the break is a person who lives around the area. And might be the number of support. We'll have to find out. We come back, we're talking to Jacob McDonald, who AnythingLax with the awesome logo. You get it. We right back to Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. I need to learn to do these breaks. We're taking commercial. We'll be right back.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money, and we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
Welcome back to Daily Dive. Dude, I have to admit, I noticed you put a space between anything and lax. I'm kind of upset at myself now.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I've got a wife and a daughter, so I've been called worse than anything you're going to call me, buddy.
Okay, Frick. No, I like that. I try to build a little mini bio for you. We can change that next time you come on the show. Like an NLL fan, which I think applies. Lots of TikTok followers, and you're building a Discord. And let's do the Discord thing first, Jacob.
Sure.
We're calling you AnythingLax for Jacob today.
Yeah, whatever. Honestly, whatever. Jacob, AnythingLax, whatever really you want to call me. Jake's fine, honestly.
All right, Jake. So question. I know that the Discord has been a recent thing that you're really hyping up. One of the things you're doing is a jersey giveaway. Go ahead and touch on the Discord, hype it up for me, and talk about the giveaway you're doing too.
Yeah, so basically what originally I started on TikTok, and what happened was last year during the All-Star break of hockey, there was nothing else to watch on. So I turned on a Buffalo Bandits Toronto Rock game, and I fell absolutely in love with that game. Like that game, honestly, I think it was just a perfect storm because that game was so back and forth, right to the end, all that stuff. Right there, and then I started consuming, and obviously the sport's just amazing. So I went online or went on TikTok and see nobody was doing content for the NLL, or like maybe super sporadically, but nothing was on there. So
especially
I was like,
on TikTok,
yeah. So basically, I was like, you know what? If it's not here, I believe if it's not there, you have to build it. So I was like, screw it, I'll just start doing TikTok. I was doing TikTok sporadically. Then in August, I finally was just like, you know what, I'm going to really go hard on this. And so since the middle of August, I put out 2 TikToks, 2 or 3 TikToks a day, minimum 2 though every day. And it's really just the consistency has really helped me grow. And then I basically was like, well, I started posting on X. Luckily, Dawson kind of seen one of my posts and then shared it. And then it just kind of went from there. Then I noticed there's nowhere for like fans to chirp in this, in this community. So again, I was like, well, let's see if we can throw a Discord together because I couldn't find anything I could join. And then here we are, right? So now I've got I think we're up to like 80 members.
I was going to ask you, 80? Good Lord, there you go.
Yeah. And I think I started about 3 weeks ago or something, 3.5 weeks ago. So
not bad, no.
Yeah.
So how nasty does that, like, do we try to police the thing, or like everyone usually pretty respectful? I feel like that can get a little, I know the season hasn't started yet, but I feel like we're going to have to police that, right?
Yeah, so basically, we'll look into that as a problem arises, I guess.
Sure.
I mean, I've got a couple guys in there that are pretty good. I could care less what you say to me. You could call me the worst names in the world. I could care less. Go nuts. What I'm trying to aim and build here is something that's, you want to stick to lacrosse. You want to tell somebody their team's absolute dog shit. That's completely
right.
Fine. But the second you get into personal attacks and you go to you have people that go to people's profile, like pull their pictures and stuff, and like that, you'll be gone super fast in my Discord
cool.
if you do that.
Yeah, because I mean, I'll be honest. Like I told people before, when you get a quote from Kevin Durant and his entire fan base attacks you, the profile picture, oh my, better watch out. I also, speaking of profile pictures, the logo is sweet. I don't know how much of that was your idea. I know you said some local designer helped you out. How much of that was your idea? Because I think it's sweet, dude.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Actually, to be honest with you, I find it funny. Like everything, I'm kind of teaching myself as I go, right? So I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just kind of, and that's the other thing that I'm trying to build. Like if you go back and watch my first podcast, it's done completely on my phone. Yep. I just got a laptop now, like a MacBook. I've got a mic, a proper mic. I've got the earbuds now. So I'm trying to slowly keep building. I've got the ring lights and all that stuff. So I keep basically adding to it as I go. But I want to kind of show people that you don't need all this fancy stuff. You can just go get on, start talking, and build yourself up, right? So the logo, I actually just legit, man, AI, and I just screwed around with it for about 3 weeks and just kept tweaking it. And basically that's kind of how it was built. And then I just found this one. My biggest thing is my kid is really into hockey, obviously, as well as lacrosse. There's a brand called Hockey Benders, and they do everything very vibrantly. So that's kind of what I was like, kind of use that as my inspiration a little bit.
There you go. What? I mean, that's, like I said, it's a sweet logo. It's captivating. Like the vibrant colors help that. Circling back to your Discord real quick, you're doing a giveaway, right? A jersey giveaway.
Yeah.
I mean,
So basically, what happens is every time everybody in the Discord gets a ballot automatically, and then I've got a channel in there that when somebody comes in, if they tag you, that's an extra ballot towards you as well. So the more people you bring in, the more ballots you get. And there's, like I said, there's only 80 people. Really, I don't even think a lot of people have commented in that thing yet. So I'm gonna kind of get on them before it happens. But there might only be a couple hundred people really in this. So there's a good chance you could actually win a jersey. And I'm doing any jersey, any player. I'm just going to basically, whoever wins, they'll message me, we'll figure it out, and I'll just order it right there and just send it off to them.
I made a tweet, I believe like early this morning, last night. I noticed that the Oshawa Firewolves are now 16 days away from their opening game and no Oshawa merch. Although, according to Commissioner thru, there's an OPCD and says they're doing a league-wide merch store before the season. I'm like, well, it's time to lock in, boys, because I think it'll help you with the giveaway. Because it's so hard to find merchandise. Holy cow! Yeah,
and that's the other thing that I find too. It's really hard. Yeah, it's hard to find merchandise. The NLL site sucks. And I mean, I'll be one of the first one to tell you that. For stats, it's not updated. For merch. The Panther City's still on there. I think the Riptide's still on there. I understand I've listened to the interview with Fruit. I really like the guy. I think he's the best thing for this league that we could have. Wow. But they definitely got to get somebody in there to do it. And so I hope that gets fixed.
Did you ever choose a favorite NLL team? I know you were having that little thing on your comments too.
Yeah, so I'm kind of it's funny. So back when I started a little series that if teams would comment, and then I added, if you could get a player to comment or add me or whatever. So essentially, it came down to 4 teams. I had the Georgia Swarm comment on one of my TikToks. I had Toronto Rock actually follow me. They've been in my live and all that stuff on TikTok. I had Vancouver Connor O'Toole. He follows me on there as well. Really nice kid. I talked to him a little bit. And then Tyson Bell also follows me. I message with him, on a semi-regular basis. He's a really cool guy.
I agree.
And so between those 4 teams, and then I dropped it down to Halifax and Toronto, I thought, let's leave it down to the game between those 2. I also have said if somebody really captivates my attention, like Oshawa or like Ottawa, there's a couple teams that really are pulling me in. The Oshawa story, obviously Albany last season, but almost making the playoffs, going back-to-back games with San Diego, losing that second game. That really captivated me. I'm all about storylines, and I think that's how we sell the game. So, and then there's another part of me that just kind of wants to stay neutral as well, right? So
it's hard, but I try to low key support the Swarm being 4 hours away, closest team to me. But once you do like the more media stuff, it's like you learn to love every team and every player. It's so hard, like you said.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And as I get older, I also enjoy watching players more than I do teams per se. So
true. So let's talk about. I know you said how you've told the TikTok people how you got into lacrosse, like you told us earlier about that rock band. That was the Elijah Gash game, right? Like
I think so. Yeah, I think it was, and it was just there was so much that happened in that game. It's just it was just my jaw was on the floor the whole game, honestly.
Right. So before that, though, I believe I've heard you mention in your podcast that you've been on the reserve or something like that. As a person who's here in Georgia, like I have no idea or not much knowledge of the indigenous stuff, the Native American stuff. Can you expand on how that has helped you being around that area to like lacrosse even more? Because like I said, I'm a rookie to it all on that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so my wife's status native.
Wow.
She's got her status card and everything. Her family, like her my brother-in-law, he was raised on the reservation there. And I always say, I don't know if this is the right words. I always say, I don't know if the res is the right thing, but that's what they all call it, so that's what I call it, right? So
fair enough.
If I'm being inconsiderate, it is what it is, I guess. But that's what everyone calls it where I'm from. Even everybody all my friends and stuff grew up, right? It's the res.
Right.
So anyway, I went out to the ILA this weekend for the first time. It's just technically off the res. So it's in Hagersville. Amazing experience, completely dedicated for lacrosse. And the crowd was small, so it was super intimate experience. I don't think I'll ever get to have that again because I think this sport's going to boom in the next couple years. And so basically, and then, my wife's cousin, we had lunch with her. She works in the school system teaching Native culture in the Grand Erie District School Board there for the Catholic side in Brantford. So again, I got to pick her brain a lot. It's just, you get lacrosse. The thing about lacrosse, and I always say the best players in the world come from that area because they were born with a stick. My nephew, he played junior B for a little while, and like that kid had a stick in his hand from the time he could hold it. So
jeez, I was telling Mackie Jenner yesterday, like if I could just play lacrosse in school instead of dodgeball, I feel like I would have loved the sport automatically.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's such a fun sport. So let's do some NLL season preview stuff, shall we? You got to see the Black Bears play in that game, right? And who was the other team?
Black Bears in Georgia, actually.
So oh wow, was Lyle there, or how many of the start was Jeff T? All of you, how many of them were there?
So I really wasn't when I walked in, I was kind of consumed by the like the whole experience of it. So when I sat down beside somebody. I'm not going to mention his name because he kind of doesn't want me to. I kind of talked to him about this already, but he's a big lacrosse guy. He's in the community, and I was picking his brain. Now he knows a lot about Georgia because he's same thing. He's involved. He grew up playing with some of these guys and all this kind of stuff, and coached them and all that stuff. So he really likes Georgia, but he's it's just a fan of the sport. But I was like asking him, and Lyle was actually sitting right behind the goal net. Just chilling, right? So I was in shot from him. I'm at the point that I don't know these players too well yet, so I don't want to just go up to them and hey,
my dog Lyle, come on.
Yeah. So anyway, I was kind of debating about it, but this time I didn't. Maybe next time I will. I just kind of again, if I find they're just regular guys at the end of the day. I don't get starstruck in that sense, but at the end of the day, if Lyle's just sitting there chilling, he's the best player in the world. I don't want to go bother him. If my kid was there with me, like I was there without my kid, my kid was there with me, I definitely would have been going up to him because he would have wanted to see.
Well, that's like the. It's easier to also say yes to a kid instead of yes to a grown man. That's a good point. So what did you see from those two teams? I know like it's all preseason training camp stuff. What did you like from those teams? Did you see anybody that stood out to you, or goalies or anything?
Yeah, so I mean, Dobbs looks really good in net. He was only in there for a bit. They got rid of, they pulled him, and then Georgia basically ended up making a comeback at that point once he was out. Ottawa did. And I really liked. I noticed the size and the speed of Georgia specifically. They're very big. They're very fast. And honestly, I kind of had Georgia at think I rated them 6 wins this year, but I'm going to do a finalized version anyway because I want to take the whole preseason into consideration. But I honestly, man, they had 9 games that were 1-goal games last year. I think Lyle Thompson's the best player in the world personally. I'll die on that hill, and that's so I have a soft spot for Georgia as well, and also they're the first team to comment on my TikTok, right? So that's always a little bit as well.
Yeah, I told the PR person they're awesome. I like Toronto's, like you said, the same thing. I like when teams. I said before, it's bittersweet that me and you joined it because I joined 2022. You joined like last year.
Yep.
It's bittersweet knowing that this league is not famous because it means that we could kind of jump in, but it's like, all right, come on, now, let's go. Let's get going. So, have you made your championship pick yet? I know you haven't finalized it. What was your initial feeling?
I mean, right this second, it's hard to go against Vancouver.
Bingo.
Just because of the depth on the team. The only thing is, it's like the only thing I'm kind of skeptical on them is like they're so good, and a lot of times when you see this in other sports, when a team gets that many players that are so good, it's almost like they get in each other's way.
Yes.
But I don't know if that's going to be the case with Vancouver just because they're so deep. So like my early predictions, obviously Vancouver, Buffalo, you can't count out, and then from last season, I think Halifax, I think they're in their window. I think they've all gotten better this offseason. And I think that, I think Warren Hill's going to have a bounce back year. And I think that I believe in Warren Hill. I know a lot of people kind of, have written him off. And I personally think that Halifax is going to be a lot better than everyone gives them credit for.
Like I said, I'll say it again. I know you heard me in the first segment. If Halifax is great this year, that dude's in net all year because it means that he was awesome to start and awesome to finish. Yep. We'll have to see. Do you have like an MVP kind of feeling? Because that's a hard one to predict. I know Jeff T, if he has more assists, is going to be up there, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, man, there's so many really top end players. I personally think like it's Dyson Williams, Alex Simmons, Ty Kurtz. That trio there is just going to be fantastic this year. They had their last year kind of with some bumps and bruises. Was really at the bottom of the league until kind of halfway through the season or whatever, that second half of the season. So to be honest, Dyson really seems like a guy that I would say is like more of like a dark horse. But if you wanted to go with like, an easy pick, you could either go with like Dane Smith again, depends on how that all goes, or any of those guys from Vancouver,
Yeah, I feel like, the record might have to matter too. Unless Del Bianco can do the goalie MVP, that'd be wild.
And that's the thing too, right?
I mean, past him.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that because I mean, he's the best box goalie in the world.
Do you dabble in field lacrosse or not really? I can't stand it.
Yeah, so it's funny. So I tried to start watching the PLL last season because there's nothing else on, obviously, and I just couldn't get into it. Now that I find I follow all these guys and I'm more into it, I understand field a little bit more. I can watch it. I heard this one saying, and it says, "Field's like a gentleman's game, and boxes control chaos." And like
I like
the way my life,
game.
The way my life is, I'm control chaos. Like I have 4 kids running around, so I mean, I love box, but I think. Yeah, well, I have 3 and my niece lives with us too. So
fair point.
We have 412 there, and so I love box, but I can understand the art of field, and I think this year I'm going to watch a lot more field because I'm a big Trey Deer fan. I think he's kind of the next guy, and he's playing in Syracuse I think this year, so I'm going to have to watch at least them.
Are you close? Like what is the closest arena to you right now, like college or pro?
Oh, it would be Halifax. Right, so I'm in Moncton, New Brunswick, which is about 2.5 hours away from Halifax. And then I've also got there's a junior A team here in St. John. We're in Moncton. We've got a bid in for a junior B team. So I've already talked to the president of the association there in Moncton, and I'm hoping to be able to do some interviews because the thing with the East Coast, I asked the president here, I'm like, where do these guys go after junior A? And they don't really go anywhere because there's missing link. There are a few guys that have gone on. Usually they play here, then they go to Ontario, and then they go from there. But I would like to be that. I would like to be that connector if I can get connected with some scouts or something. And then if I see somebody that I really like, I can just be like, "Yo, man, you got to check this guy out and send him some footage." Right?
Yeah, I was talking to Chris Fox, I believe last week last week. He does a lot of CLL stuff, but
Yep.
We were talking about the farm system. It's so. I think, again, I get there's some good leagues up there in Canada. I do think 20 years from now, we're going to want a general farm system. I don't know what that looks like, but I'm hoping that once we get these financials settled, you obviously hope the league takes a big step. I'm hoping guys have an avenue to where if teams are looking, you know, you're good or you're not, and then we'll figure it out from there. But you shouldn't have to beg. No other league you have to beg your way to get into a league. That's just stupid, in my opinion. It's sad.
Yeah, so I think personally the best way, and like the, you know, especially with the CBA this offseason, you know, but one of the biggest things was like, oh, we're not making money. A lot of these teams aren't making money, which, you know, that's to be said or not because they don't release numbers. But what I will say is if we were to move this league, and this is what I said before I even really got involved or just started to get involved, why is this not being played, first off, normal box season, but over the summer where hockey's almost done or maybe the playoffs are on, where it's like you're still watching hockey, but then you can fill that other space with lacrosse games, get them playing, get the PLL to push back if they want to, you know, you're gonna have to have you know, some kind of coordination with these two leagues. Get the PLL to push back so they can play in the southern states, so it doesn't matter about weather. You play that over winter. Then you have the NLL playing over that thing, and then you have the MSL and the WLA turn to those feeder leagues, which, I mean, technically, in my opinion, as much as like I love the Chiefs, I think that, you know, those guys, it's special to play for that team.
Sure.
Whether that means, you know, maybe giving their owner, I know it's technically an ownership group, but maybe looking at getting them an NLL team so all those guys have a place to go play. I'm not really sure if that's already Halifax with Steyrs kind of. But I do think that that's the future of the league if you want to talk about a full-time, you know, and that's the thing when these, you know, a lot of people say, oh, well, they have to play other jobs or have other jobs. I'm talking when they're full-time and this is their full-time.
Agreed.
They play their fucking 4 or 5 months and that's it, you know?
Yeah, like, I mean, again, like NCAA like is great and all, but it's field. Like, to be honest, we saw Peyton Cormier, who still was really trying hard. I think he can take a step, but he was really awesome in college and has not been great in the NLL so far. But then you look at Brandon O'Neill, you have to have a system of box, and it is what it is. What are you looking forward to this NLL season? Just whether it be teams or like storylines, what are you excited for? Or just the league to grow?
Yeah, so basically what I'd like to see is obviously I'm just excited to see the games in general. I think it's going to be a lot more even of a league this year. Usually you really had Buffalo and Saskatchewan kind of running the show last year, and I don't think it's going to be like that. I think you're going to have 5, maybe 6 teams that are in that contention. Depends on how every game goes. And what I love about this game, I do think that we need more games, and that's just obviously, again, with money and all that stuff. But I do love what this league is like. There's any team can beat any team on any given night. It's not like that in other sports.
Yeah, I like that. Any parting or any teasers for anything lax or is that pretty?
Yeah, man, I always got something cooking. I'll tell you that. Woo! I'm working. I've had a couple of people, like, I just made this merch for myself, kind of.
I was wondering to ask you if there's a shop coming.
Yeah, so there is a shop coming. I've just kind of, you know, it's kind of in the works. It's on the. I also have a job, unfortunately. Still, I'm hoping to make this full time eventually, right? But so I'm putting as much time. I put more time into this than I do my regular job. I've also got a fantasy league coming. So basically, there again, this is another thing that's missing in this community. And what I'm going to do is essentially, I don't have the exact numbers or the exact structure. I'm going to be working on that this week. But essentially, what it's going to be is, let's say, you know, if there's 8 guys in the league or interested, then I'll make one league where it's just you to pick a team and that you follow those teams. Let's say you'll have maybe 10 guys per team. You can only have a max of 180 games per season played, right? So that, because it gets difficult. Because, you know, you'll have a team not play for 3 weeks. So if you have a player on that team, it's hard to get points. You can't do week-to-week, head-to-head matchups like you can in the NFL. So if you do a whole season thing where it's just a point system, then you can still drop players, you can still trade players, but you only have 180 games or whatever that number is going to be per game, right? So that's kind of the vision I see and stuff like that.
I mean, I'm all for it. Like, I know like we've had like some fantasy stuff before, but I'm very excited. Like, again, like you've had a lot of the Discord's a great idea. I'm not a Discord guy, but I definitely am like trying to help like plug whatever you have. But keep on doing what you're doing, man. Again, we need more people like us, man. Let's keep on. Anybody who wants to do a podcast, keep doing it, man. We got to talk about the sport more.
Yeah, absolutely. And just get on your phone and just start posting. Like, consistency is key. You know, that's the big thing, and I think people get discouraged right away, or I don't have the equipment, and just get in there and just start posting. Like, you'll gain some fans, and they'll, you know, everyone's got a unique perspective.
And you said, what was it, 2 TikTok posts a day? Okay, I'm making sure.
Yeah, 2 TikTok, 2 to 3 TikToks, a day. I do follow a couple of TikTok coaches and stuff like that. So I try to consume things that are going to be beneficial. So
the algorithm, I think, loves you for the 2 a day. But thank you, Jake. Get back to what you were doing, but thank you for taking time on the show. We'll obviously have you on again because I think more opinions is obviously a better thing for the league. But you keep crushing it, man, and we'll definitely see you again, man.
All right, thanks, buddy, and keep doing what you're doing. You do an amazing thing. I love watching your content as well.
Thank you. See, that's awesome. All right, guys, Jake McDonald, everybody. Hey, listen, I was not expecting the at the end, honestly, but that was fun. Again, it's hard, like he said, but this league is so good, and if you're a fan of the league, just talk about it. Even if you think you're not good in front of the camera, this guy literally was, like he said, sporadic on social media and then jumped on it, and look what it's become. He's got a lot of followers, man. Got a lot of followers and a lot of conversation. Like CLL said earlier, he's got more engagement than a lot of leagues. Bingo! Because he actually cares about the fans. Who knew? When we come back, I'm going to talk about roster moves, part 3 of 3. Buffalo, Toronto, and Georgia. What happened there overnight? My goodness. We'll be right back to Daily Dive. Don't go anywhere. We're going to wrap it up next.
You're listening to North American Talk Radio, the all-new talk radio station featuring sports, movies, politics, mental health, and more. Check us out at natalkradio.com and subscribe today. Buy event tickets straight from our website to help the cause and get tickets to your favorite events for less. That's natalkradio.com. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to MyBookie. You're ready to create an account and start making money. And we're here to help. And remember, you can get a bonus of up to $1,000 on your first deposit. Now you're ready to bet. Just go to mybookie.ag, visit the sportsbook, click on your bet, and input the amount you want to risk or win in the bet slip. Yes, it's that easy. Just remember, at MyBookie, you play, you win, you get paid.
You are watching Daily Dive here on North American Talk Radio's YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe before you head out. And again, if you want some National Lacrosse League tickets, head over to the event tickets tab at natalkradio.com. We thank you so much for your support, for your team, and this show. So far today, we talked about my 11th ranked team. I named Halifax with a 7-11 record. I talked to Jacob McDonald, aka AnythingLax. He is always creating conversation, and it was good to talk with him on the show. And again, I've said it before, and maybe not on the public platform, but I do believe, and I don't care who you are, if you are doing a podcast, I want to have you on the show. And the reason for that is I think it just builds so much discussion. I think that, like, I've consumed sports show content for years, and I do believe having different voices, like you say, this team wants to win. Jacob thinks that Lyle Thompson's the best player in the world. I want to hear everything, and I want to have you on the show, etc., because I think it matters. I think media does matter to sports, and I think the NLL might slowly come around to that, even though, like, whenever I first joined a few years ago, it was just Adam Levy, it felt like, and Dan Arestia. We need more voices because those guys paved the way. We got Dawson Nielsen, myself, Frick came up, Jacob McDonald. We need more. So much more people talking the sport. Creators Game, all of it. Thank you all for what you do. Continue to love the sport and talk about it. Barbershop, baby. All right, roster moves, part 3 of 3. Wow, this got wild quick. All right, so we're going to do the easy teams first here. Let's do the Buffalo Bandits first of all. And again, I'm going to save Georgia for last because of a lot of what's happened based on the Adam Levy article. But Buffalo Bandits brought back Ryan Benesh, and I think it was a little Lax Mag on Instagram or on social media in general. I think the Lax Mag showed an old interview of Ryan Benesh, like one of his first few years in the league. The dude was a puppy, and it was after the Bandits lost, but the interviewer was like, "Hey, did you play a good game?" "No, man, we lost." I was like, that was such a cool throwback, but I just had to talk about that. But no, Ryan Benesh is back for Buffalo. I do think that's a very good get for them. I'm not sure how much points he gets, but I have to assume he can do a Chase Fraser or Chris Cloutier thing. Like, I could see this guy scoring 50-plus points. It may be way more, but I think that Dane Smith and Josh Byrne, Kyle Buchanan, Steve Piolo, a bunch of guys are still there, but another offensive piece that's kind of sleeping in the background, maybe more Kyle Matisse stuff, I don't know. But yeah, they also traded for Mike Triolo. We do know that the former gigantic rush defender was not going to travel this year to Saskatchewan. That's fine. That's how this league works. But he is now going to help Buffalo's defense as if they needed help. And also the Bandits brought back Matt Finch. That's a big deal. Now let's get into this. Toronto Rock. Talking about bringing people back. How about bringing back longtime goalie Nick Rose? We still don't know how Jimmy Dowd was able to fleece Calgary, but he did. And that, I think Nick Rose is going to have a good year. He's very consistent. Mark Matthews is back from injury. Again, the Tom Schreiber stuff is massive if that guy, again, does not play, which it looks like, again, he will not. But Mark Matthews coming back simultaneously actually is awesome, considering the young guys on that team. Who are the young guys? CJ Kurtz, number 1 overall. Owen Hiltz, number 2 overall. Ever heard of him? They have a third guy. I forgot the guy's name. But they have the top 3 draft picks. Oh, Sam English, year 1. How's that? How's that for Sammy? Come on. Also, a very sneaky piece that Toronto brought in was actually Nathan Grennan. And I believe he's a water bug. I think Nathan Grennan is a guy who can have some nice diving goals inside, around the crease. I also think he will get under your skin and set those screens, maybe a little on one of the screen, like, "Hey, buddy," and piss off a few people, as if the Toronto Rock needed more people like Elijah Gass, but here we are. But Nathan Grennan is a water bug who will get under people's skin, but also has a lot of good skills on offense. Colorado, what did they do? They stole Andrew Q from Georgia. Captain Clutch is now in Mile High. They brought in Aaron Woods. Remember, when Aaron Woods came onto the scene with Halifax, he was awesome right away. That team might need some offense considering they got rid of Connor Robinson. And then, of course, and Zed Williams. And what about this? I'm trying to think of who Colorado might still bring in. Can I raise you Jack Hanna? Again, it hasn't happened yet. It might not happen. But Colorado, we see what you're doing. And finally, the last team I'll get to besides the Georgia Swarm, Philadelphia Wings. LOL. Okay, now let's get to the Georgia Swarm. I'm killing this. That was the Wings roster moves for me, was nothing. All right. For the Georgia Swarm, oh my goodness. We're going to first talk about what I had written down prior to yesterday's show, okay? So when I thought of this roster recap thing, I was like, let's do all 14 teams. I wrote down everything I saw and knew and stuff. And then yesterday, Adam Levy dropped an insane article. So let's talk about what we knew beforehand. Connor Kelly, whether or not he plays or not, is in Georgia now. A very capable offensive weapon if, again, he plays in the NLL this year. They also, like I said, got rid of Andrew Q. They lost Brendan Bomberry. And now, they also, I believe they activated Caleb Benedict. There's a lot of young guys on the roster, have a lot of good draft picks. But then the Adam Levy story broke, and oh my goodness. No Jeremy Thompson, no Miles Thompson, no Joey Capito, and Brett Dobson's on the trade block. What? Are we kidding? Wow. Now, I am not going to go on the show and wear the shirts. I don't know why. This was not intentional. But I am not going to go on the show, be located in Georgia, and just rake on Brett Dobson, Lyle Thompson, and the crew. I will say this, though. They have massively underperformed since I've started this show. I'm aware, even though I was not aware until 2022, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Too bad. I'm aware that Georgia won a championship in 2017. I am also aware, again, since I started the show in 2022, they have not been good. They floated around the 500 mark. Literally, the peak of Georgia's powers, and since the 3 years I've done this show, has been pushing Buffalo to the brink in a playoff game that wasn't even a semifinal. It was just maybe a single elimination, but that was it. But how many teams have done that? How many teams have been right there just for Buffalo to, kind of strangle them, right? That's the peak of what I've seen with the Swarm, okay? And part of that is two people, three. Part of that is the quote. Part of that is the head coach, Ed Cuomo. I don't think that he's been inspiring. Again, if you it works in every sport. This is not just NLL. This is not just Ed Cuomo specific. Every sport, a guy's message is going to wear off. Pile on the fact, and I get it, people like him. I'm just saying, from a fan's perspective, that's what it feels like. Also, how about Lyle Thompson? Great. He's always really good. But we've learned with Jeff Teent, one man cannot win you every single game. Now, unless you're Dane Dobie scoring 8 goals in one quarter, that's awesome. Good for you. Lyle is not doing that. Lyle takes a lot of shots, has a lot of goals, has a good amount of assists. I know he's great. He's one person. And sometimes the ball will just die in the stick. He can make good moves. But if you can shut him down or limit him, Georgia is weak offensively. And finally, Brett Dobson, I saved you for last. I found out recently Brett Dobson is younger than Dyson Williams. That is shocking. I also understand that those guys grew up together, etc. If I'm going to talk about Warren Hill, if I'm going to say that Warren Hill has, had a great team of Six Nations in front of him, I can do the same with Brett Dobson as a youth. Seeing the rosters that Brett Dobson has had as a playing youth lacrosse, I can see why he might have had awesome numbers. Not saying he was not great, but I have been told by media and others alike that Brett Dobson is going to be awesome one day. I'm still waiting. I don't know what to do. So does it surprise me that Brett Dobson is on the trade block? It does not. Because I think, much like with Warren Hill, much like other guys, if you are not really good, you cannot win in this league. And Brett Dobson has not been consistently really good yet. Does that mean he cannot? No. I think Brett Dobson can be great one day. I'm actually predicting he will be. I don't know when that will be, though. So until it happens, it's kind of easy to shop him around, or easier to shop him around. Maybe Vegas wants him. I don't know who. Maybe another team wants him. I'm just saying, it does not surprise me as a person who watches every game. I told people I watched probably 90% of the games since 2022. Brett Dobson is inconsistent. And again, until he does great, I don't know what will happen. So, that's the roster moves for the Swarm. Again, bring in Connor Kelly, lose Andrew Q. You hope Connor Kelly plays. Brad Dobson's on the trade block. Jeremy and Miles are not there. Neither is Joey Capito. Holy cow. It feels like Georgia's doing a rebuild on the roster. I do believe that. And I think, I know Dobson's still very young, but again, Swarm see him more than we see him. So if that's the case, if they're okay shopping him, I don't know what the backup plan for Georgia is, but I will say that they have to know something and they have to be confident in their abilities to draft and or develop. And that's a big deal. What a show. All right. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. This show is so fun to do. And as always, thank you so much for your comments. There were so many of them I didn't display on the screen. I know I'm still trying to does magic to the some wings or birds help him? I have no idea. Again, I cannot decipher that. We had a lot of good stuff. Michael Gray said, check out the Nova Scotia. I think that's what that is. Privateers. Yeah. CLL commented, Cody Jansen commented. Such a fun show today. We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on the YouTube. NATalkRadio.com. And you guys have a great rest of your day. Follow the socials as well. I need to learn and these things, but thanks so much for all you guys do. And see you next time, everybody.